This one is fairly tame, but this is my story. About 3-ish years ago, I was out with a girlfriend celebrating Cinco de Mayo. My husband had to work early the following day, so he did not come along. At around 2 a.m., I called an Uber to go home. I'd been using this service by then for several years and had never had an issue. I'm a pretty friendly gal, so, initially, the driver's questions didn't really sound any alarms. He asked stuff like, "Why are you alone? Aren't you married? Where is your husband?" I felt fairly confident that he'd back off once I confirmed I was married. As we were driving down a fairly desolate stretch of road, he started to drive really slowly. At this point, I was beginning to feel uneasy. There were no other cars, no reason to reduce speed. He noticed that I was keeping my eyes on him when he looked back through the rear view mirror. He suddenly stopped the car and got out. I immediately unbuckled my seat belt and jumped out of the car too. I just yelled out, "What the fuck are you doing?" He mumbled something along the lines of, "I thought I heard my tire. You didn't hear the tire?" I was like, "No. You should never just get out of the car." The strange thing is that he didn't seem wigged out that I had just exited his vehicle. He got back in ready to complete the ride. At this point, my options were, 1. Get back in without buckling in and keeping my hand on the lock/handle, or 2. Stay on the side of the desolate road, alone, at 2-something a.m. and wait for another car to pick me up. I chose option 1 as I pretended to call my husband, who was totally sleeping, to let him know I was 10 minutes away. This next part is where it surprisingly takes an odder turn. As I'm riding, desperate to be dropped off at home, police sirens go off behind us. The driver panics, looks through the mirror and starts going on about how the warrants they have are false and how his license should be valid and it's not his fault if it isn't. The cops ask him to step out, realize he's in the middle of a ride so ask me to step out too. They search him and his car and arrest him on the spot and take him to jail. His license was also expired for 2 years. WTF Uber? I asked why they pulled him over and they tell me, turn without a signal. I asked them if they'd drive me home and they told me they weren't a taxi service. By then, I was on a much more vibrant street with well-lit sidewalks. Called another Uber to take me home. Night ended without incident. So, creepy Uber driver and rude cops who wouldn't escort a woman home past 2 in the morning, let's not meet.